Ooh.
Oh, there you go. If
So
somebody else
yeah,
wants to press
who?
record, because my technology lets me down big time. For the mentoring thing, I sat someone down and had a 45-minute chat with them, looked at my phone, and it recorded the first 50 seconds. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
fuck. I don't
Christ.
think I even have a Zoom account, so it's asking me to like sign in and stuff. So,
Yeah. Oh, this wasn't on Zoom. This was face to face as well. So I just literally put my phone there,
oh no.
recording the audio, and then that was yeah. It's not the first thing in this course that has not worked when I press record. But never mind.
Start with Ben then. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah, just because you're at the top of the Zoom thing, so I thought, you know what?
Evaluate
So
me.
I think first, if I'm correct, we've got to ask you how you thought your session went.
That's what I would have done. Hang on. Are we
Yes.
organised with pens? Because I wasn't.
No, I'll just I can type shit in my computer though if I need to, I guess.
I can't. I'm
Can't
just
read
going to
my
grab
own
a pen
writing
so I
anyway.
can.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah. So Ben, how did you feel like your session went? Oh, he's gone. I think he's gone to get a pen or something. Yeah. You're indoors, aren't you, Matt? Obviously by your video. Are you always indoors? Yeah, so I work at our indoor centre.
Yeah.
Um, we've got two paddle inside, and we've just got planning permission to get another three. So then we go to five, and then six outside courts. We did have 10, but we sold the land to keep the club afloat, and now
Oh,
we're
fair
in a
enough.
strong position. So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
how good has it been being indoors, mate? I don't
uh,
think it's stopped raining in the last month. I can't remember a day it hasn't fucking pissed it down.
I,
All these
I'm,
guys in the group chat, all the guys in the
yeah,
group chat messaging, I'm coach. I'm just like, oh, I'll keep quiet. I'm just lovely and warm indoors. Thank you.
I know. Yeah, I'd struggle to work outside, but I think
Yeah,
I've got
I'm
the
the biggest
mentality
fair
for it.
weather player ever now.
Yeah.
No chance I'm going outside ever. I'm exclusively outside at the moment.
Whoopsie.
Been fun.
All right, Ben, let's crack on. So
Right.
30 minutes and then for it, and then it's easier. Um, and then I can give us a countdown. Do you know what I mean? What do you want? Countdown like 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, so we can keep on track.
In terms of what? Sorry.
If we spend like 30 minutes on each person,
Each person, then yeah, we'll be an hour and a half
yeah,
plus a bit. Yeah. I think that would,
that's what it said, weren't it, roughly? So go 20
I'm
mins and then
hoping
we
it
can
won't
like
take much
wrap
more
it
than
up or
30
something.
per person. So I think like if we finish early, we don't need to stall it out for 30 minutes. But
Yeah. Yeah. We've got when the meeting finishes in 40 minutes, then we've got to rejoin. Just use the same link.
so
Okay.
that means whoever goes second will be like halfway through your bit.
Yeah. That's all right. No
Cool.
problem. All right, Ben, your timer starts now, mate. So
Very
how do you
good.
feel like your session went, Ben?
Yeah, I thought on the whole my session was good. I kind of watched it back in bits, like I just scrolled through because it was so long ago now. I've like forgotten certain bits of it. I'm glad that the recording lasted the entire time, despite the video slipping and falling a little bit and having a really bad angle. I'm glad that I got the whole 45-minute video in there. I think my player responded really well with the coaching points. So that was what I was trying to give him. And you could almost see pretty much instant improvement from the player. I liked that I tried to make it as real as possible nearer the end. So we put it into some competitive rally points to see if the skills were transferable to a real thing. I can't remember if I did serving at the end, but I would always try and do serving in the end. And then competitive points play just to make it as real as humanly possible by the end. So that was either I ran out of time and didn't do it, or I'm happy that I did do it, but I didn't get that far when I was scrolling through my self-assessment of myself. Areas for improvement. Obviously, I think could have made sure that the camera didn't fall over, get a stronger tripod on a less windy day. That was probably the biggest thing. It was really frustrating trying to deliver something and present something as a high quality session, and then you're spending half the time doing this trying to watch it. So yeah, the professionalism of making sure that the content is clean and good to the highest of standard obviously needs to be worked on. I had a microphone, but it just wouldn't sync up. So again, just the technology side of making sure I'm prepared before the session goes in. Um, I felt like I shouted loud enough that you could still hear my voice during the vast majority of the record.
Yep.
But again, it's like the attention to detail and stuff like that. I've known the player since he was like 9 years old, so we've worked together for 12 years. So we've got quite a good um, chemistry going at the moment. But then I think I might have slipped into like a few conversations that I would have had with only him rather than against other people. So it might not necessarily have shown me as I am on court with everybody else. But obviously, we all want to make ourselves look good, so we've chose our players who we were the most comfortable with, I guess. So yeah, on the whole, I'm pretty happy with it. Just attention to detail and making sure that the technology and the planning and preparation beforehand, yeah, it does need to be, I'd say, significantly improved.
Yeah, like watching your session, like you could tell straight away that you got along with your player very well, and you'd known him for a long time. I think probably everyone's in the same boat. They're probably going to pick them sort of players. What I really liked was how you at the start you use that democratic coaching style. You kind of found what he wanted to work on, like using the like the tiebreak to really find out. Uh, so you had an opinion of where kind of drew it out of him, which is really good because obviously that gives him that ownership of how he wants to get the session he wants and get better at what he wanted to do. Um, is it kind of something you pre-planned, or was it kind of like the authenticity of like that match tiebreak that you got from it?
Yeah, so with that player in particular, we always do a match tiebreak to see what's highlighted. I always have one or two ideas, and he always has one or two ideas that we both want to work on. They sometimes link up, they sometimes don't. But we say, right, let's play a match tiebreak and see what gets highlighted then out of all of these things, and we go from there. So obviously we weren't allowed to record the warm up, but during the warm up, we had that conversation of these are my two things, these are your two things. So let's play some points and see which one needs to be worked on. But then straight away we're giving each other feedback on what's working, making it as real as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
liked how you kept backing up the you played the points at the beginning to get the data, and you kept referring back to the data and then summing up at the end from the data. He's hitting it flat and low and making errors or hitting it short was like the outcome from the match tiebreak. And then obviously you practice the using your legs, getting the spin and the height and the depth. And then you retested it at the end and summed up the last minute or two was you two talking at the end and kind of concluding everything. So it had like a very kind of started, closed, opened it up, went back in, and then finished with the conclusion. And you could back up his improvement with data as well.
Yeah,
that was good.
Used to be a PE teacher in a primary school, so I'm very used to the we are learning too.
Right, yeah.
At the end, what have we done today?
Yeah.
So that's just like ingrained in me now. So I always do like that recap. So
yeah, and I think that's important. I don't know, to be honest. It's always like in a group, maybe you're like, oh, get the balls in, okay, see you next week. And then you forget to actually, yeah. I always go with the intention to do it, but yeah, that was good. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was really nice how you started and finished. Do you know what I mean? You brought it back in what you were working on. You showed like the improvements of how before you were just stepping in and winning points quite comfortably, and then all of a sudden with the depth you weren't able to do that so much. That was really, really good. Um, one of the things that like I was noticing was like obviously like the feedback was like actionable and like what and the how. Um, and you were constantly like asking him questions, checking for that understanding. Um, how do you feel like he responds best to hear like the questions, like and the probes you were given?
Yeah, the vast majority of the time, I feel like we sing the same language. So whenever I ask him a question, he understands the question and he gives an honest answer. I was half expecting him at some point to challenge me because he is quite sometimes like he does always say, "Oh, actually, no, my opinion is this," and then we have a good tag talk about it. But he seemed to actually buy into the lesson really well this most recent time in the video. But yeah, we respond well to each other. He's not afraid to ask questions. And then if he disagrees with a point, we then say, all right, let's try it, see what works, see what doesn't, and go from there. But like we quite often like to keep it honest and open and have the chat because obviously everyone plays different styles of tennis. So you got to make sure that whatever works for him is what we're trying to get out of him.
Having data is always good to, if they ask questions and you don't necessarily agree with each other on the answer, having that data that you find can back up straight, usually come around to terms with what you're saying if you've got the data to back it up, which you did. So again, that's another good use of it.
Yeah, I really like how your communication skills changed to the player and you connected with it. It's very obvious on the video that you had a really good connection with him, and like you said, backing it up with them stats and them facts really helped him progress and see where he could improve. Um, like if you were going to like redo kind of the lesson, where would be areas that you feel like you could improve on?
Uh, when I watched it back, I only skimmed through it, but I do know that in general, I sometimes talk for a little bit too long. So it's good to obviously get the information out there and share the knowledge. But if you're talking for 10 minutes, they then get cold, they haven't hit a ball for a while, it then obviously then impacts them and it takes you a while to get that sort of rhythm back. So I'm not sure if on this occasion you guys have picked it up as an area of improvement, but in my own coaching, I absolutely know that I can probably do too much of a demo, talk for too long, and then my players get a little bit cold and it takes a while to get the rhythm back again. So yeah, normally if I was to do the session again, that would be my answer. But just got to keep it flowing and keep the rhythm of the drills going at a smoother pace.
Yeah, it's definitely this is from my tutoring side of things. Is I totally agree with you about the like the demo length and good conversation. I think it's always that balance, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you you have such a good connection with that player, and it's I remember doing like the level two paddle, and Nick marked me down for exactly similar to you, just having a good relationship with that player and like talking. Uh, so it's good for me. Like it's interesting that you noticed that and you're aware of that.
Yeah, we could talk for the whole session if we wanted to, but then obviously he's not going to learn very much.
I've just pulled up a photo here of when we're on the module one. There's like that non-negotiables
Oh,
list. Yeah, I think it's in our group chat we've got as
in my
well. But
basket was too close.
oh well, yeah. So the first one, safety. That's the only thing I would have said. Obviously, basket. You all know anyway. That you know.
I got told that on
Um,
my level three, my level two. They didn't say it on my level one, but
You're just there like Agassi on the baseline, mate. He's never stepped back in his life. This guy.
yeah. No, I just hold the baseline.
Exactly. I mean, there's four other points were feeding, demos, closed practice, and evidence before teaching. So we've already talked about the evidence thing. We thought that was awesome, getting the data really early on and then using it throughout the session. Closed practice, did some hand feeding, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Up and then yeah, just kept opening up slowly until by the end he was making the decisions, and then obviously you playing points. So that's a tick on that one. Demos, definitely were it definitely showed him how to use his legs properly and on the different shots as well, going back or trying to transfer his weight forward. Like you showing him over and over that. So he's getting a visual demo to go along with like the theory behind trying to hit more depth and height and stuff. And then you showed him that. Feeding, it says here in brackets, like drop feeding, hand feeding, racket feeding, all of those, expanding it through, and then the safety, move your basket before Nick sees it, mate. That's about it. So I think they're all pretty much ticked. I mean, all the all the
I definitely
non-negotiables
was.
there.
I was definitely chuckling when you were working on depth and that basket's like glued on the base.
Yeah.
No.
Keep going deep until you see me fall over the trolley. Then you know you've got it right.
Yeah.
I don't even know what backpedaling is. I just half volley on the
Yeah.
I think for me as well is like I'm guilty because you've obviously both watched my lesson, so it's a completely different lesson to what it was really what I normally do. But like I always think about like the outcome, like the tactical side of things. And because you think there's so much, do you think like you could improve that area of like the tactical of what we're doing on the court? What would you kind of change or add or into your
Yeah.
session?
So since obviously we did our level 5 and we highlighted again that physical, tactical, mental, and technical thing, I've used that a lot more in my coaching. So in the session that I've done with him since, it's a case of, well, now could you use that spin to say target the backhand, find a weakness, or could you then try and turn this into more of an approach shot and come in? Could you still use your legs on the approach? And we've started adding a lot more tactical play stuff into it. But I possibly could have done that in that lesson there. Then it's just whether I decided to stick with the technical or move on to the tactical, or try and hybrid it a little bit. So
Going for depth is definitely a tactic. It's like probably the most important first tactic to go for. So I wouldn't say you neglected it. I mean, we're seeing one snapshot of one lesson. You said you played with the guy for 12 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure that's not just going to be like the only lesson you do on it. So you're going to obviously build from there. And I think depth is like literally the foundation of like where to begin. And, you know, so I wouldn't say that was a problem. One of the parts on this review form here is does the coach use SMART goals, practice, design within the lesson to motivate the player? So I would go through those and like just specific is S, right?
Yeah.
Specific to the game of tennis, obviously you guys are playing points. You figured out that he needs to hit depth. It's super specific to tennis, I would say. Like it's not even questionable. Clear tactical knowledge, absolutely. That's what's M again? M is
measurable. You're counting how many times you hit the net.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So then that comes down to finding the data again, right? So you found all that at the beginning, used it in the practice. How many times can you do it when you're feeding it? You know, you had a target, how many times out of whatever to get the depth. Achievable. Yeah, I mean, you can tell from the lesson it was achievable because he used his legs, picked it up, and improved. So, I mean, you can't get much more achievable than that. Relevant, realistic. Yeah. I mean, again, pretty self-explanatory. I would have thought that it was relevant. You know, if you were to carry on, it'd be specific, but there's nothing wrong with just getting depth to start with, I wouldn't have thought. And then time, well, it's very hard to get that in a 145-minute session when we're watching it. So I'm sure you'd follow it up, like we said again. So yeah, I'm just going through basically through the peer review form and just trying to make sure that, you know, we have like little bits and bobs from all of it. But that was just one thing that caught my mind, just ticking off that. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, when you're going through that one, like on the smart, what I liked about it was like you were warm, connected, you close, it was open body language, you sportive, and then you challenge him. You know, you're very approachable and relaxed. And what I really like is like how you connected the excite of like the player to the future of their game. And I think that's one of the things that I felt through that session was it, you know, you were constantly looking for that improvement.
Yeah, the player definitely bought into the whole thing you were teaching him, and he's going to be using that. I mean, you've obviously played with him since then, but he's definitely going to be using that as a big thinking point for when he's playing from future on. You can tell. I like the fact. I mean, you did it for us actually by muting the video, but I like the fact that you could pretty much watch it and basically work out what you were trying to teach him without the sound,
Yeah.
just because of the demos and like the visual. You're over exaggerating the knee bend, and I could look at the video without having to listen and figure it out, which I think that was good. Obviously, you're telling him and showing him, giving him both of you. Yeah, yeah, you did it on purpose, huh?
You could only use audio because you couldn't see it.
No, I could just see your. It's all good.
You're welcome.
This form's kind of just repeating itself a little bit over and over again. It's kind of not a bit annoying. I also went through that. They gave us like the assessment form, right? Was it the level 4 or something?
Yeah.
I just briefly went through that and just saw. I didn't see anything that stood out as not being achieved. To be honest, I can send you the. I've basically just written it down here. I'm underneath the peer review form. I can just send it to you guys. But it's nothing overly exciting. It's pretty much ticking off, and then the few bits and bobs that you can't tell because it was just a one-off lesson.
So I passed my level 4.
I think you might have done, mate. I think you might have done. I don't know. The trolley, though. Trolley might have done it for you.
Oh yeah,
Failed.
Trolley.
Which, we looked at the methodology and skill acquisition. If you're looking back on your lesson and from what we've learned, obviously, on that first module, what would you say your coaching methodology was through that lesson? And then what skill acquisition tools did you use? Or do you feel like you kind of use one and a bit of another, or do you feel like you were really stuck in one kind of thing?
I think I could have made it a little bit more varied because I did give him some racket feed stuff, but I didn't really change the height of the ball. So I could have done a bit more of a variable practice to add to it. But obviously we played it as real points, so then the variation came in then. But I didn't say, right, now can you bend your knees on this really high, really deep one? Or I could have really exaggerated the variation of the feed. So yeah, probably could have added a bit more of that into it. Remind me of what the other two ones were again.
So we've got the like game based, and then like the
constraints is the other one, I think, right? When you take stuff away and things, constraints based practice.
Yeah. So yeah, game based stuff, I think, because obviously we played those competitive points. But again, I didn't really constrain it and say you can only use top spin. So I didn't say you can't use slice or anything else. But yeah, it was very much a technical session, that one. So it was more about the terminology and the words in and through the knee bend and the drive and all of that. But I could have, like I say, made it just a little bit more variable.
Yeah, so it was like I felt like you were in like that model based for the technical skills, and then you brought it back into the game based.
Yeah.
About my coaching is like that integrated approach where you kind of get more of the factors, like the performance factors involved in that technical, tactical, physical, mental into the session.
Yeah.
Do you think you could have challenged him more in different areas, or do you feel like you achieved all of them, or in the tactical, technical, physical, mental?
Hard to do in 45 minutes, isn't it? So it's a case of, I think I set out to say I want him to get more depth on his topspin shots. 45 minutes, here we go. But then longer term, it's a case of start to bring in maybe a bit more physicality. So he's quite a skinny frame of a man. So it would be good to actually get a bit more strength in those legs so he can get even more spin. But then I could start bringing in like the more physical, the more mental sort of side of it, and bring in those other things.
Yeah, I think you've got to find you either try to do them all and don't do them all well, just trying to do everything, or you pick one or two that you can do, and then obviously if he's next week, you might be able to build on that, and then by the end you're probably doing all of them. But I don't think there's a need possibly to do all of them in one session, because then they're kind of like focusing on one thing, next thing they're trying to do this, and then there's like 5 things in their mind, and then no one really gets anywhere. Yeah.
So if that was your session then, guys, throwing the questions back on you, what would you have done differently to either add to it or just done differently because of different coaching styles or whatever?
I think this is just because of like the course. Obviously, it's challenging us in them kind of like because it's been a long time since I've done a bit of study, especially on like the methodologies and like the skill acquisition tools. But I think with that, if we were calibrated, is it going on what you said about like the variable, like the different game situations. Sorry, not the phases of play, different phases of play that you could play from.
Yeah.
Um, and then adding that mental tool as in like, maybe it's like you're changing the shot depending on like where the ball is. Obviously, if it's short, you might not be looking for depth so much. You might be trying to keep the ball low, or whatever. You could change it different mentally to work on him. Um, give him like a decision making kind of tool. Um, but I agree with Anthony and that, and what you're saying is it's so difficult in 45 minutes. It's you could achieve everything or you could achieve nothing trying to like get put all of them things into a session. And it was very clear that he improved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Throughout the whole session. So I think you achieved that well.
Yeah, and I think you take the session after that. He's already raised his base level, hasn't he? Because you worked on that thing. Then you pick the next thing to add on to it, and you keep adding on layers until 5 weeks time. They're, doing all the things that you wanted to tick off rather than trying to cram it.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I do like is when he did get tired, is that you were aware enough just to give him a little break, just to get the energy back up to then so that he could do what you were asking of him and he could do it well rather than just like finishing the basket off and just like tossing it off. Do you know what I mean? Like you actually just give him a bit of time and like let's get some good quality out of these last 10, 20 balls or 15 balls or whatever it was.
Yeah. I know him so well that it's a case of I can see when he's starting to fatigue. So it's just making sure that you don't go too far. Obviously, challenge him enough, but not go so far that then just the quality dips.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I think we've got about 8 minutes left before our Zoom meeting shuts down
Yeah, we've got 6 minutes left on this one.
on this one. Nice. Cool. Yeah, there anything else?
I'm just going through my notes now. Yeah, it's interesting on that level 4 document. They were talking about like drill, will, skill, and like to engage the player with clear objectives and the scoring process or outcomes with targets or and markers. And that's probably where I was going a little bit tactically before. Is I think to really nail that drill, will, skill, because you're attacking the you're giving him clear objectives. It's just maybe giving him an outcome kind of like area of depth, even though it's really obvious. Do you know what I mean? Like, but where are we trying to get to? Where's the depth going to start? Are we looking at first bounce or second bounce? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
like a cone line or something. Just,
I was about
I
to
mean,
say,
it's easy to use the service line as depth, isn't it? But probably his level, that's probably not good enough. So get him to put a marker down, what he's trying to aim for, see if your marker lines up with his.
Yeah.
That can spark a little conversation about that and what you're trying to do and whether it's where the ball bounces or where he's pushing you back to. Little things like that, rather than just deep, could mean different to you and him.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, I didn't use any cones in the entire session, did I? Whereas you guys both put out like target areas, whether it was cover the gap between here and here or aim for that zone there. It's a case of, yeah, I could have just put out a target zone so that we were singing the same language, which is why I don't often put out cones for him.
Yeah.
He knows the expectation. But obviously, when I'm doing a 45-minute video, I should absolutely be setting that sort of standard and making sure that they know that I know, kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of have to just tick the box, don't you? I guess,
Yeah, exactly.
even though you know that he knows.
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of.
we know.
Yeah.
Just conscious of the last 4 minutes now, 3.5 minutes, is obviously just listening to me and Anthony's like kind of feedback about it. What kind of things have you kind of taken away from this?
So yeah, the things that I've written down because I already knew about some of them and had them already written down elsewhere, such as the basket being too close, as well as the video not being good enough. I've put add more technical elements in, maybe come up with a target zone or a reason why to hit it there. And then I've put about decision making, give him a choice of a place to aim for, either here or there, and then why to do that as well. So that again, he's thinking just a little bit more tactically into where he aims and what he does. And then I put speed up demo and try not to lose focus. So those are the things that I've written down. Obviously, prepare better as well is going to be on there. Use a microphone that works. Move the basket.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's just not day-to-day coaching, is it? Though, who's setting up a microphone, and then
Exactly.
I wouldn't wind yourself up about that too much.
I'm surprised I even set up the Zoom call, and I would be surprised if it's actually recording the entire thing. So, but
If I could just squeeze one more thing in about the like just putting out cones and targets, you know how you collected the data at the beginning and then used it at the beginning and the end, like to back up your theory. I think code the drill can then he can get a score and a very visual. That's more data that you can then take from the intro. Then it's a middle chunk of the drill that has data. Then again, backing it up. Does he need to improve because he's hit the target or he hasn't?
Yeah.
And then you can both what's deep, and then he can visually see without you even saying anything. Right, has my shot gone in the target area? No. Okay, yes, it has. And I just gives you like an extra bit of data rather than just, it's not just specific for him, it's extra data for you as well.
Yeah. The other thing is as well, Luke's told me on my mentoring review thing with him, don't dwell on the negative so much. So I've also made sure I've written down some positives that you've said. So it was, you like the chemistry and the bond, and you could tell that we've been playing for that amount of time, even though you didn't know for fact. It's good that it gave that impression. You said how it was like clear and precise coaching points, and it was very effective. And you liked how it flowed with basically a beginning, a middle, and an end, with a wrap up at the end. So the structure of the lesson got good results out of him. So nothing on the negatives.
Yeah. So in 2 minutes, what happens? This just closes, does it? Automatically.
Do you know what I was thinking is shall we close, so stop the recording now, so Ben's got his, then we can start a new one for each one, and then it's clean, isn't it?
It is very good. Yeah. Very good. Hopefully when I stop recording, it will give me an option to save it somewhere.
Yeah, it will.
Very good. Well, see you on the other side then, guys. I'll re-invite you.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for that. See you in a bit.